All right.
Hello, everybody. As it does, as it does. So I'm not quite sure what the two decks we have here are now. Is this a player we saw previously? No, I don't think either we saw any of these players previously. At least not when I was commentating.
No, I saw a couple rounds before you got on, and I don't think I've seen either of these players play, so we'll probably be seeing something fresh. So where do we get the coverage from? Can I just Google it? Oh, here we
Yeah, it
go.
looks like he just linked it in the Twitch chat.
All right, tight.
So we might be a little bit ahead now, but is it a sneak and show mirror, Callum?
All right, cool.
Is this so someone's saying they saw a Trinus here, so it might be another prison.
Moon deck, yeah.
I hope not. They can lead to some pretty interesting games because they kind of get everyone down to this level where no one's able to do anything. Is that a Ramen-Up Ruins in their hand? So it looks like another Moon Stompy deck.
Yep.
With a Ramen-Up Ruins in it. That's not quite a combo. Oh, it's the Blood Moon Mirror.
The Blood Moon Mirror. If that's a Rainy-Net Ruins, that's one I haven't seen yet in that deck. There's a Blood Sun.
A Blood Sun. This should be... I don't really know how this mirror plays out.
I actually saw it in the quarterfinals of a local event last week. I was sitting on the other table, so I didn't get to see too much of it. But while Blood Moon's obviously not going to mess anybody up, so I think it might have to do with direct damage with fiery
Confluence.
Yeah, Confluence. Is it Confluence? Yeah.
I imagine once you all both board out all your Blood Moons, that the Ramen-Up Ruins are going to be pretty good at dealing the direct damage. So it's going to be some interesting tech here. Card was banned in Standard, so clearly it's good enough for Legacy.
Well, Cyrus, the real question is, how many other deserts are in his deck?
I can't imagine there's very many. I imagine it's just a one-time shock type of effect. Okay, let's look at this hand. This hand looks like all it does is make a Blood Moon on turn 2, maybe.
Turn 2 if they draw a red card. There's no red source.
Oh, no. Yeah, you have to send this back. Especially if you know the matchup, which I imagine you would know the other mono red player if you're both, X1, XO late-ish in the tournament. You'd see them around.
I didn't know where you were going to go with that, Cyrus. I thought you were going to be like, there's like a group of mono red prison players, and they all huddle up in between every round.
I saw that at Eternal Weekend with Eldrazi. There was this group of about 20 people all playing Eldrazi who would all get together and talk, and I made sure to remember who all of them were, so if we got paired, I would be aware. The Basic Mountain Go. Okay, so it looks like he's just gonna imprint the Blood Moon now. That makes sense, I guess. Is that a Rabble Master off the top?
Ooh, that was a Rabble Master. That's the most insane draw right here.
That's the best That's probably the best draw on their entire deck.
I think that's one of the bigger, more important cards in the mirror, I would say, is the Rabble Master early, especially if you can play it as fast as he's done here on turn 1. That hand went from a 0 to the best opener.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I imagine, they got to exile the useless Blood Moon. Now they know the matchup. And play a Chalice on 0 to shut off their opponents' moxes they were maybe sandbagging if they didn't know the matchup. Which might be the case because there's just another Basic Mountain here.
And Rabble Master is especially potent in the mirror because one of the bigger forms of removal is Chandra, Torture Defiance. And if it has to downtick to remove the Rabble Master, the Lingering Goblins can easily finish it off.
So this is they've already done 7 damage here, right? Total?
This looks like a swing for 6 here.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay. Is this going to be a Fiery Confluence? Yeah. So sweep and probably kill the Mox or damage to the face, I guess. I think I would have killed the Mox there because they clearly don't have a red source.
Yeah, that's probably where I would go. Destroy the Mox. We'll see. I mean, I've never played this match, so.
Yeah, I can't say I'm not. I actually have played one tournament with this deck. I got so sick of losing to Eldrazi with Storm. I actually played Moon Stompy once at a local tournament. It was the least fun thing I've ever done. Well, not the deck for me.
Oh man, I actually played against this deck last week. I played Death and Taxes for the first time, and that was quite interesting. So whenever you have to get down and play some real Magic, when your Blood Moons aren't just winning the game automatic, and the Chalices aren't just winning the game automatic, and similar to this match.
It leads to some weird games. Yeah, so still no red source. Doesn't look like the Riki has another follow-up threat, and Tushy Moon might be able to just run away with this game. Expertly floats mana with the City of Traders. Oh, there's a Chandra Torch of Defiance. So Riki's going to need another Rebel Master like right now to start pressuring this Chandra. Oh, and there's a Ballista. Wow, what a turn of events. It went from having just 2 basic mountains in play to sweeping the board, playing in double spell in the next turn.
Fiery Confluence will do it. It's a big catch-up. Although I do still think that destroying the Mox could have pressured the better answers, I would say, for what Diago was planning on presenting on the next turn.
I think that destroying the Mox just has to be better than going forward to the Dome here. I can't imagine that. The upside of destroying the Mox is so big.
Although with the new rules change for targeting, the Confluence does not hit the Chandra, nor does Chandra hit opposing Chandras. So that new rules change probably makes this match a little bit harder to defend.
Yeah, first person that can slam a Planeswalker might be able to just kind of get it. There's going to be 15 rounds, log T1.
Yeah, this is round 12.
These players are... Interestingly, they decided to feature 2 9-2 players. So a loss here for either of these players is going to knock them out of top 8 contention almost certainly. And
well, they're on the edge. It's a good reason to put them on camera. Plus
it's a mirror match, so I guess it might have some spicy technology.
That Ruins. If you notice that Diego is sandbagging that Ruins.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't even want to show it the first game. No reason really to do so, unless it's going to be lethal.
So Riki went ahead and played a Chalice into his own Chalice so that he could take less cards in hand for Ensnaring Ridge. But this Chandra's going to, when it ultimates, is going to be a real problem.
Yeah, Planeswalker has to be dealt with, and it's the Walking Ballista can block the Magus. The Magus in play.
That's game.
Yeah, that's it. Chandra went up, takes the game over real quick.
So I imagine the first thing you're going to board out here are the 8 moons.
Maybe not the Magus.
Okay, yeah, I guess the Magus can stay because it can attack.
It can attack a Chandra. It could also
Chalice
block
probably
the
does not do much in this matchup.
It's amazing how much a body like a Gray Ogre actually does here. Because if you have to remove the creature with the Chandra minus, then it can get any other 2/2 can get through and finish the Chandra off.
So these are some interesting lists. Oh, there's those. Oh, so it looks like he shuffled his entire sideboard here.
We're on the bridges, keeping in the Sulfur Elemental.
No, I think he shuffled his whole sideboard. He's going to board those out now. So those are some. So from all of these Moon Stompy players, we've seen Goblin Crater Maker. Is that a Dead Gone, or is that the land destruction?
That is Dead Gone. That is Dead Gone.
It's not. Yeah. Okay. Or yeah, it is. So it looks like they're opting for the Legion War Boss as well, which is the newer card that is similar to Rebel Master with Mentor.
Yeah, being able to, also an upside of that over Rabble Master is that the token doesn't have to attack the following turn. Maybe it's being played in addition to Rabble Master.
Yeah, I think that is kind of double up on your Rabble Master effects. So it looks like they got some Thought Knot Seers. Ooh, I've also seen Experimental Frenzy from a lot of these players, which is real interesting. That's probably going to be real good in the mirror because it lets you just keep going off the top of your deck. But it has some interesting contention with Ensnaring Bridge.
I wonder if it's a sideboard card.
Yeah, I think it's a
discard
sideboard
or control.
I saw this sweet deck round 3 the Eternal Weekend. I played against this person that had an entirely German foil Moon Stompy deck, and they had Koth of the Hammer and Chandra Torch of Defiance, and they were using Koth to untap their mountains and Chandra to make mana so they could keep going off with an Experimental Frenzy. And their entire deck was in German, so I had to keep calling a judge. I was like, I think I know what Koth does, but I haven't cubed in a while, and it was a sweet deck. So it looks like maybe some people picked up that technology. Maybe we'll see a Koth of the Hammer somewhere.
The original 4-mana red Planeswalker.
Yeah. What happens in the meta if Moonstompy gets super popular? Well, if you remember, GP Birmingham last year, or a couple months ago, I guess, before Deathray got banned, Moonstompy won the event. So I just didn't think Moonstompy was that well positioned coming into this weekend, and here we see 2 of it at the top tables. We saw one last round at the top tables.
Yeah, there were a few Chalice decks at top 8 of that Grand Prix. Steel Stompy, that was like the first big showing for the Steel Stompy deck.
Yep, that's true. That was a good tournament for that.
Yeah, Chalice of Void.
There was Dredge in that top 8 too, I think. That was a weird top 8.
Yeah, Chalice of Void. It's one of those cards. You really want to play it early, and sometimes it could just win a game, and it's something you always have to consider. Also, Wasteland, Blood Moon, similar. There's no Wastelands in the Moon Stompy decks because they have Blood Moon, but just pillars of the Legacy format. Where whenever you look at your opener, it's like, can I beat a turn 1 Wasteland? This hand can't beat a Wasteland. This hand, I'm on the draw. If they go turn 1 Chalice, this hand is unplayable. And you got to respect cards like that. And sometimes the decks just get free wins just because of that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There's so many hands when you open up your opening hand. You can't beat a Blood Moon, a Wasteland, a Chalice, and you just have to say, well, I hope they don't have it. And it looks like this weekend these players have been asking the question of, can you beat this? And a lot of the times the answer has been no. But now they're in a mirror match where those cards are not going to be nearly as effective. So we're going to have to kind of see who can be the better mid-range deck here.
The Battle of the Grey Ogres.
Battle of the Grey Ogres. This deck has gotten some great upgrades in the last few years. There used to be the when it was Dragon Stompy with Rakdos Pit Dragon and everything.
Oh, yeah, you remember that.
And now
one.
It's just like they have these super powerful red haymakers with the red Planeswalkers and
oh wow,
Rebel Master.
Experimental Frenzy and Thought Knot, the 2 big sideboard.
Oh, it looks like both players have Experimental Frenzy in their openers. Yeah, Mog Catcher was another version of the deck.
Do they both have Thought Knots too? Is this the same hand from a different angle?
Oh, is it?
No.
That might be it, yeah.
No. They both have the 4-drops. Both have the same 4-drops. There's no colorless mana in one hand though, so this looks like it's going to be a mulligan. There was a Mox and a Mountain.
Yeah, you have to send that back.
I don't know. I saw 7 Reasons to Keep right there. I keep a lot of hands though, but that one, it definitely being on the draw also, you could fall behind real quick.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I just feel like there was a Crater Maker, and that could be interesting. Could blow up an early Rabble Master or something. That's another new interesting card. So there's a couple cards that from the new sets that these mono red decks are implementing. Experimental Frenzy, Goblin Crater Maker. Ooh, this looks like another hand that's not going to cut it. Because even if you scry Mountain to top, you're not quite getting there. You need 2 mountains, basically. I guess you have the Legion War Boss, but I think I would go to 5 here.
Yeah, it's a double city.
Oh, he went ahead and kept it. So he basically has 1 turn to draw Mox or a...
Yeah, Mox would probably be the best draw here.
Well, you sleeve up your cards. So some of these players you can see have their cards sleeved up. One of them even has 3 layers of sleeves. It looks like with the on the right. So keep your cards protected. Okay, so they're gonna be able to Legion War Boss here, and notably, like you mentioned, they don't need to attack with the Goblin here, so they will be able to start blocking those Goblin tokens possibly. Even though it's not the most profitable exchange if you're not attacking. I'm not quite sure how War Boss is worded. Look it up.
Well, when it first comes into play, it has haste and has to attack that turn. But it doesn't have to attack after that. I think you have to put... Attacks this combat if able, yeah. So it's gonna get the attack in here. And got the 1 in.
Jeez, a lot of damage coming through here. So they're gonna shut the Rabble Master, which was an interesting attack on the Rabble Master here. You have to imagine that Kamo's gonna have a follow-up threat here and kind of want the War Boss to be off the table. Dodnut's here. That's gonna be able to take a threat from them. So what's the take here? I think you have to take the Rabble Master because that's the castable card. But the two Planeswalkers are just going to be pressured by the tokens too much. I think the Volcanic Fallout is fairly interesting, but the Thought-Knot's still going to be left around. So, this is a tough... What would you take here?
I would probably take the Rabble Master.
Yeah.
Because they're not close to being able to cast either Planeswalker on the next turn. And the Fallout is a possibility since you are ahead on tokens. But the Fallout will also deal 2 damage. And with Diego being at 10, that effectively puts him at 8. The Goblin jumps, the Thought Knot. It's still going to be close to lethal. It's going to turn off all the Ancient Tombs in the deck. The Light Total being part of your mana base in a way. I'll probably leave him with the Volcanic Fallout and just take the castable card.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because
pressure the advantage here. Pressure.
He's going to need to draw a Mountain or a Mox off the top like right now. It's like another City of Traders, so not in a great spot here. Oh, there's a Hazard at the Fervent. So lots of or Fervent. There are lots of new cards in these decks. Interesting.
Yeah, well, I've seen the Hazard for some time. It's really nice in combination when you play the Ensnaring Bridge. You can get underneath your bridge, even with stuff that's uncastable via Sanctum Prelate or anything like that.
Yeah. So the Hazard's just going to come in sideways there, and looks like we're probably going to game 3.
Diego drops to 1. But I don't think there's anything in these decks that can deal with a Hazard other than an Ensnaring Bridge, and then in combination with a Spyglass to completely shut it out. But that's got to be one of the better threats.
Yeah, really powerful, and you're really seeking to kind of just empty out your hand, and since you're not locking each other out of the game, you're probably going to be able to cast most of your spells, and don't have to worry about counter magic, that's for sure. So I wonder if they'll make any sideboard changes after seeing how their opponent, or maybe on the play draw. I don't think so.
No, we just got to give it another good look. Especially because there was a Thought Knots here that resolved there, so they gave some information about how the opponent sideboarded. Did get a look at the Chandra Pyromaster. That might not be a common one, or I mean, I've seen until Torch Defiance came out, it was more popular in the mono red moon decks, but.
Yeah, I remember right when there was that rules change, so they could start playing multiple of the same Planeswalker. I saw a couple of the Chandra Torch Defiance. So it looks like on the play, Diego is feeling like Ensnaring Bridge is maybe a little bit better. I see him boarding him back into his deck, so you can empty your hand a little faster. Or on the draw, I suppose. Maybe on the draw you feel like you need to be able to catch up. Oh, he's on the play.
No, he's on the play. He's on the play. It is interesting.
Maybe he sees the Hazard and he just thinks, well, I can't ever beat that card, so.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. In combination with the Spyglass is the only way to shut it down. And so it's either race it or try and lock it out. And if you mitigate the amount of damage to just 2 per turn, that could buy you some time to try and build up a Rabble Master board. The interesting thing with the Ensnaring Bridge, I'm actually not sure how that works. Ensnaring Bridge and Rabble Master, because it makes the 1/1 they have to attack. Oh, it makes the 1/1 and then they have to attack, but they're not attacking yet. So the Ensnaring Bridge, you could hide underneath. You could lock out your Rabble Master underneath the bridge until you get a big enough army to swing around the Hazard.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. You get to kind of choose. You get to get around the downside of Rabble Master, which I think that card is a card that got a lot better without Death Right in the format, because it used to be that if you had to play that Rabble Master onto a Death Ray board, it would just eat the one goblin every turn, and you would never really get an army going. So without somebody, it's one of those cards that is happy to be not have an X2 it's attacking into anymore.
Yeah, it's a strange spot how that works in Legacy with the absence of Death Ray Shaman, because it also fixed their mana a lot. So you would imagine that these Moon decks really gained a lot from the losing of Death Ray. But then at the same point in time, there's many decks are playing multiple basics. So,
yeah, back to basics kind of filled a Blood Moon type role where a lot of people are playing more basic land. So look at these hands. It looks like, so it looks like a Ramunap Ruins and 2 City of Traders over here. A turn 2 Legion War Boss, but
yeah, it has a Rabble Master and a War Boss. This is probably going to be a keep. There's also, you minus all hands on deck, you did see that Scab Clan Berserker in there.
Yeah. So I think both players are playing Ramunap Ruins.
Nice.
So it looks like that might be the technology people have been picking up to kind of, that can damage, it's just a shock, that gets turned off by Blood Moon and sometimes damages you, though. So I'm not really sure how I feel about that. Okay, turn 1 Legion War Boss is going to be real hard to beat because those tokens are notable because they're going to get out of range of the Fiery Confluence eventually, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, depending on how he decides to distribute the counters. Oh, and then here's a Sorcerer's Spyglass.
Well, they'll actually never, because the Mentor could only grow smaller creatures, so the biggest they could ever get is 2.
Okay, so yeah, I wasn't quite sure how Mentor worked.
But it could change the way that Confluence is cast, because sometimes the Confluence, as we saw in the first game, can come down and destroy your artifact mana. Like, Diogo does have a pretty vulnerable Chrome Mox here. Having to pitch the Spear God. I mean, Diogo's basically all in on this War Boss here.
Yeah.
And when you played on turn 1, I don't mind being on that team.
Yeah, it looks like Con's kind of in risk of getting run over now. It's going to be hard to kind of come back.
Very good draw here, I think, is this Chrome Mox. With that Chandra.
I guess exile the Chandra that's under the Spyglass.
Actually, the Spyglass was named Chandra, most certainly. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. Fiery Confluence is definitely going to be the card that Ricky is looking to draw.
Absolutely.
That's the jam on this Chrome Mox decision, because you would think just put the Chandra under it, which is what happened. But there could be some note, say if you draw on a Braid or some kind of removal for that Spyglass, that Chandra can be.
Yeah, I think you kind of just got to play. You're so far behind on board here that you kind of just got to play to beat that. So be interesting to see which creature he decides to go with here. I think I'm not really sure the difference between two of them. None of them seem like great blockers.
Well, Grey Ogres, no. It's going to be trading with these effectively 2/2s from the War Boss.
Oh, that's a Dead Gone.
Wow.
That's the blowout here.
Wow. Yeah, Dead Gone. That's a great card.
It looks like that card's probably in the... It looks like there's going to be some Oracle text on Dead Gone, possibly, but Dead Gone is probably their tech to beat the Merit Lage if for some reason the Merit Lage players are able to ever escape under the Blood Moon, and it can also just kill some Delver of Secrets and some Eldrazi's. Oh, I think he maybe drew an extra card or something here, so it's gonna be probably just a GRV. And
might have seen the next card. Yeah, Dead Gone definitely due to be back in the format. Like I said at the beginning, when I showed up, I really think that Depths deck is, if not the best, definitely top 5 decks in Legacy for sure. And people just Merit Lage is back, so deck like this doesn't really have any way to deal with it. You don't have Karakas or what you see in other decks towards the Plowshares. So that's kind of the go-to answer, I think, if you're on this mono red deck. You don't want to lose 2020 flyer. And very flexible, too, like you said, killing Delvers. And we saw it here, just take out the Route Master before you can make a token.
Yeah, I think this game's probably going to be over.
Oh, yeah, piled on.
A Fiery Confluence off the top is going to have to come here. And that's the game. So it looks like a Moon Stompy player advances to 10-2. Needs a few more wins to get into top 8.
And Diego keeps the tournament alive.